So I have to remind myself that I prayed for this shit, that I asked for it, that I put it on my manifestation list, that I used to think about it late at night, and I worked for this, I made this happen. And so now, in the busiest and one of the most intense seasons of business, as an influencer, creator, author who's in the midst of a book launch and rollout and planning a book tour, and also host who practiced being on camera, who put my face on the internet and asked people for money to create this project, that now in the midst of filming Hour Block, this very Black, very intentional, very beautiful series from coast to coast, yes, I have to remind myself that I literally prayed for this shit. So for the past 5 years, since I started my platform, Feed the Malik, this season, everything I have going on right now, this is what I've been working towards. I've practiced writing for public consumption and tightening my storytelling so that I can bring people along for really complex, very deep conversations where they don't even realize that I'm trying to convince them of something or educate them about something. I practiced being on camera. I practiced doing walk-in talks. I practiced speaking off the cuff on camera. I practiced reading from a teleprompter. I practiced being on camera to get myself ready for being a host, because I knew that a food and travel show, a series similar to what I grew up watching on TV, that's what I wanted to do. I built networks I could lean on. I made connections in the food space, especially around the country, intentionally with people I respected, who I could ask questions from, and who I could call up and be like, hey, I'm in your town and I'm filming a thing. Can we come in? Can we talk to you for a little bit? And it's been so beautiful to see those networks and those relationships blossom into something that feels really nurturing and feels really special. I even learned how to sell because I figured somewhere along the line I would need money for something that I thought mattered, and I would have to convince other people to give me the money, meaning I would have to learn how to sell, I would have to learn how to market, I would have to learn how to convince people that something I thought was valuable enough for them to open their wallets. And I did it. We raised more than $55,000, well, more than 60 now. We're in round 2 of crowdfunding for the series that I'm working on, and I made it happen. And what does that mean in real life? Let me take you along for a little bit of the process. So far, we've filmed episodes of Hour Block in Chicago and Oakland. And in each city, we filmed on the ground for about 4 to 5 days with a crew of 4 people. Myself, the executive producer and creator of the show, who is also serving as one of our camera people to help keep costs down, our second cameraman, and an assistant in each city. We've gone from place to place, driving around late at night, early in the morning, very long days, to film conversations with people in those communities who we think can help paint this picture that we're trying to paint, right? Especially thinking about the reputation of a city like Oakland, which is very mixed and sometimes gets a lot of negative attention. We wanted to really talk to people and get them to tell us as locals, as people who live and work in this place each day, what do we need to know about Oakland that goes beyond the headlines? What do we need to know about Chicago that goes beyond the headlines? So the days have been long. The car has been very, very cramped with all these people and bags and bags and bags of equipment. So much equipment that it usually takes 2 of us with a cart and all of our hands full and things strapped to our back, and we're still dropping things to get through the airport to get to check-in, because I think total we have like 9 or 10, maybe 11 bags between all of us because we have so much equipment. And it's been beautiful. Like this is what I want to be working on. But there have been also a lot of moments of doubt, right? A lot of nights where I think, what if we fuck this up? That's the big one. What if we fuck this up? What if it's not what we thought it was going to be? What if we miss something important in these conversations we're having? What if I'm not ready to host something at this level of production? What if I haven't prepared myself the way I need to be prepared? And the big one is, what if we don't have enough money? What if we don't raise enough money? And so for folks who've never worked on a production like this, I know 55 grand or 60 grand sounds like a lot of money, but when you're talking about 4 people flying around the country, just hotel rooms for the crew, for all of the cities that we're trying to cover, that budget is basically gone. And so we've continued to try to find ways to cut spending, to trim here and there, which usually results in us being extra tired. We've shifted our filming schedule and actually added a new city that we hadn't considered going to before, but I was going to be there for 4 or 5 days already for another project where my housing was covered and my travel was covered, and that helps the budget. So we're like, we'll do that city instead of this one. It's complicated and very expensive to pull something like this off. And I'll be honest, the process has been really fucking slow. I'm used to working by myself for myself, meaning if I wanna cover a restaurant or if I wanna cover a festival, I just make the decision, figure out if I have the budget, figure out how to get myself there, film, and then package everything up. I do have an incredible editing team that I send videos to for edits. I write the things myself, that's it. I'm the final decision maker about what's ready for public consumption and what goes out to the world. This is a very different process. Everything involves multiple stakeholders. Everything involves multiple levels of review. Everything has to be sent back and forth for other people to look at. And so this shit is slow. It takes a long time. And I've had to get used to that pace where there's so many inputs that sometimes I'm like, can we just do it, please? However, I will say the final result is going to be so much better than I can do for myself. And I can already see that because we've cut some snippets. We've started thinking through some social trailers, and the quality of what we have is, yes, phenomenal and way better than I could do scheduling and organizing everything myself and going out to film with a phone or with the DJI that I'm filming on now. So that is really cool to see. So I could never do this alone. It's fucking terrifying. It's so expensive, and I would love to pay myself a solid salary for this, but that's probably not gonna happen. And you know what? I've decided that that's okay, because this project is important, and it's even more important right now than it was a year or two ago. Let me explain why. So last year, when everyone was talking about the election and talking about Kamala, I knew Trump was gonna get reelected. And I will say I knew because I was pretty sure the first time he was gonna get elected. I felt like I had a pretty clear view of where America was politically without letting my own personal preferences or biases come into play. I figured this is where we're at as a country. These are the conversations we have been having. January 6th happened when I was living in DC, very close to Capitol Hill. This is happening, even if we don't want it to happen, and even if we are trying our best not to let it happen. And because of that, I feel like I was a little bit more prepared for 2025 than some other creators, entrepreneurs I know. I'm a Black woman who's outspoken online, who talks about politics, who has short hair and a septum piercing and lots of visible tattoos, who has a soft belly and doesn't care about it, and who generally already contradicts a lot of standards about what women should be, how they should present themselves, and how they should operate in the public arena. I'm already kind of like, I don't give a fuck, right? In my 5 years of being a content creator full-time, I've signed contracts and gotten many a brief from a brand which says no facial piercings, no visible tattoos, and I have to be like, we already signed, you know what I look like, take this out. Right? I already know that for many of the partners I've worked with and many of the projects I've worked on, I'm not brand safe. And I've come to terms with that over the years because I care about politics. I care about fat phobia. I care about the environment. And I built this platform so that I could make space for myself and for other people like me, not so I could dull myself down to be brand safe, right? So last year I figured if Trump gets reelected, I'm going to be even less safe. And the stories I want to tell, Black stories, stories about responsible tourism, stories that I think are important, they're going to be less popular and far less likely to be sponsored by brands than they have been in the past. I knew that the 2020 Black Squares era was long over and it was going to get worse. But I also didn't want to let go of this work that I've been doing. And I thought the stories that I want to tell are even more important now. And they're important because controlling the narrative is about power. If you can shape people's perceptions through media, through news, through, even the slogans and the phrases that you get people to accept or to repeat and parrot in the public space, if you can control that, you are essentially controlling how they think, how they frame information. This is why this president is so afraid of independent media and continues to attack museums. It's the same reason why when I share Black stories, if I just say, hey, this place is amazing, let's talk to this founder, and I mention that they're Black, I will get all of these comments about reverse racism, what about white people, what about white-owned businesses? Because I didn't say there was anything wrong with white anything in that video. But by presenting this different view of Blackness, by allowing Black people to take up space on my platform, which might be seen by tens, maybe hundreds of thousands of people, I am contradicting the narrative that some people in our society want to have about what it means to be Black, about the Black people's place in society, about white privilege, all of these things. So controlling the narrative is about power. I figured these stories are even more important, but I'm less likely to get outside funding than I ever have been before. What are we gonna do about it? And that is why when we decided to pursue and continue to pursue creating this series, Our Block, we chose the crowdfunding route. We figured that it would be very unlikely we would get corporate sponsorship in this era. Because in this era, in Trump's America, Black is yet again a dirty word. And many corporations have stepped all the way back from the commitments they made after 2020 and essentially are not interested in greenlighting or supporting anything that's not very safe, easy to swallow, watered down, and I would say whitewashed. Not all, but very many. So we decided to take this series to the community and say, hey, if you believe in this, please fund it. And we figured it would either work or it wouldn't, but if it did work, that would be proof, right? We have proof of concept right there that this is important, that this is something the community wants to see. And it's been very hard, but we have gotten there. We've gotten to a point where we feel like we can make something special, even if we're gonna be very, very broke while we do it. For that, I just wanna say thank you to you all, to everyone who tapped in, who shared, who donated, who continues to donate. Round 2 of crowdfunding is still open, by the way. I will link it below. Every single one of you has shown that Black joy matters, that nuanced, diverse storytelling is important, and that it can convert and that people will show up for it. And so, thank you. We've just scratched the surface. We've filmed in Chicago and Oakland. We are continuing to film in other cities in the coming months. And for now, as a thank you, I just want to share a snippet of what we've been working on, just a little bit. So here's a sneak peek of Our Block. It's very short, but it will give you a sense of what's to come. Welcome to Oakland. I'm Anela Malik. I'm standing here on a street corner right outside of the Black Panther Party Museum, and I'm the host of Our Block, or we are wrapping 8 days of shooting in Chicago and Oakland for the first 2 episodes, and I want to show you what we've been up to.
You know, Oakland has a mixed reputation on the national level. And what do you want people to know about Oakland who aren't from here or don't live here?
Everything that happens in this country happens in every city. Oakland's no different. Every person in Oakland has something magical about them. And sometimes the magic feels like it's being stolen from you in different ways. But no human thing that's happening in Oakland is not happening somewhere else. We're a beautiful city, and we have beautiful things to offer. I have a tattoo on my back that says Oakland Beauty, and it's not about how pretty I am. It's about how pretty my city is. Beautiful things and beautiful people, beautiful culture comes from Oakland. It's just, it's what it is.
Michael said, hold up. I'm not just gonna film her eating this. I gotta get some too. Good, right? Here. Corey, you gotta get some.
Yeah, let's see. What am I getting first? We can try some
Oxtail grapes, yeah. It's so good.
Oh my gosh. Ooh, it's so tender.
Don't you love working with us, Corey? So you talked about how your niche, your specialty, right? It's really bringing in artists that are underrepresented and art from across the diaspora. So I have to ask, in the art world, do you see an outgrowth of this conversation that we see online right now about the diaspora wars?
Colonialism is a powerful drug in the sense that I think so many people are confused by the lines they drew around us, even though that might be your relative, that they drew the line separating you. And even on the continent, we've learned a lot of artists or people don't know the history of their neighboring country. No more or no less than African Americans know who they really are.
I'm leaving very inspired. So you talked about Dr. Burroughs and how she was fearless and was asking people for 10 cents. And I know that you've had to fundraise in your position here for the center. And fundraising is also how we got here. So we wanted to do this project. We wanted to tell more stories about Black communities that were rooted in joy and culture and not just pain and not just what you see on the news.
You're absolutely right. In a time where the history is being erased, books are being banned, and the stories and news media outlets are being reduced, it is going to be more important than ever that you tell stories like you're telling. People can take a sense of pride. I think that's what happens for children, for adults. So thank you. That's really important to us. Thank you and your team for being here, for being a part of building community and capturing history.
Yeah, and owning our own stories.
Absolutely.
Yeah.